We obviously targeted that Creme, really known for his melees. I would also love to see maybe, I was going to say a Tristana ban. I've really seen top esports lean on Creme's Tristana, which is fantastic. I do think it is his best champion. That's definitely a strat you can run, especially on red side, just slamming Maokai Trist and going from there. Something that a lot of teams are comfortable doing. So curious what the call is from Team WE. I'm almost thinking that with a Silas ban, we could see maybe an early Maokai or Sejuani grab for WE, if that's going to be the angle.
Yeah, Sejuani has been kind of on the ban table a lot. As what has happened here is a lot of those big priority junglers were opened up because of the way that this first ban phase went down.
Yeah,
you might remember WE was banning away Nefiri and Vi every single game. Now, neither of those champions have actually hit the ban table, and it leaves W with an interesting decision. Monki did play this Nefiri a little bit earlier on in the season. It did go well for him, so that would be a pretty big pickup for WE if they do select it.
Coming in game 3, Kanavi likely just going to take Vi into it. Of course, if they want to open up a potential... I think Maokai's playable in the Fury. You're on the back half. You have ways to lock the Fury down later on. You just have to kind of space out your Q, R, and W in order to not throw it all into the untargetable that the Fury can go. We have seen Vi, though, be a big pick for top and Kanavi. And will be the lock-in here. So that jungle trade, you do this kind of Grapes to guarantee that you get one pick that you want, and then hopefully get a prio pick for the second one. Creme Ahri, I will say I'm not exactly sold on Ahri. I don't love the Roa builds that we've been seeing in pro play, but Vi Ahri is a great pairing, and will give each character, or each champion I should say, a lot of playmaking potential into the other.
Yeah, definitely go well together. You can combine a lot of that crowd control, stack it up against whatever the mid laner for WE ends up being. It's going to be a Poppy locked in to try to counteract some of the dashes that already are available for top esports. That could be flexible either in the top lane or the support position for Vampire.
I'm about to say too, Grapes, we have seen at least one Nefiri top. Shout out to Licorice. Did pilot it.
Wow.
Poppy feels really good into Vi Ahri. Could pair well with the potential Talia too, which is quite a powerful pick still up later on. So for me, laning prowess being shown for that Ahri into Talia matchup, but Talia can really provide a lot of power in those team fights, as it's so tough to get through the unraveled earth, the angles that a Weaver's Wall can create. So a pick that's been really powerful too in this split for the LPL is, I believe right now Talia is sitting at 13-7 in terms of the win rate. So to find that in game 3, pretty big. As looks like 369 is going to round out the top side with an R.
So here we go to the second phase of bans. Bot lanes most likely to be selected unless we are seeing that Poppy go towards the support position and the Nefiri still remain in the jungle.
They don't think it's Nefiri top. They don't think it's Poppy top for sure. Okay. Again, the only reason I bring this up, I've seen Licorice play it. I don't expect top laners to play it. I honestly don't know the strength of the Nefiri top, like the good or bad matchups. I'm pretty uneducated on this, but I feel like it'd be a wild flex and one that could definitely work for the Poppy. So I'm just kind of keeping my eyes out to see if that actually happens.
You know, maybe top esports just aren't thinking about it, and WE have it up their sleeve. That always could be a possibility, as you see the Jax also taken away. So another champion that likely is more focused towards Cube. I feel like that's something that he's played a lot of throughout his career. JackeyLove game 3 Draven, not going to become a possibility. We've seen that a little bit throughout
no
the split
Jhin
so
either.
far.
I think taking Jhin away would be good here. I just don't like the idea of all that range and follow up into the Vi Ahri to give that over to JackeyLove. But no, going to leave that one up and actually take the Leona away from Chris, which is with that circle of those big melee champions, the Rel, Alistar, Nautilus, Leona being the other one that falls in that category. So making sure that Chris doesn't get the potential prio pick there. We'll say if that was left up, you could, I guess they can't Ashe Braum because they're already showing the Poppy. Might be the theory here from WE, so they just don't want that matchup. But for me, Poppy and Leona, it's not a winning matchup, but it's kind of playable. So I'm still kind of curious to see where everything goes here.
Beaver Khan, I like with the Vi, and you know,
yeah, me too.
Be able to combine the synergy, combine the dashes there. Into the Poppy gets a little bit hairy, but eventually you're gonna have so many dashes that you can't cancel them all with the steadfast presence. So maybe that's something that Chris wants to select here on this last pick, as we are gonna see where exactly all these champions are headed now for WE. The Jhin, the Ziggs, something safer for Taeyoon. It's gonna be the Ziggs, so maybe a little bit more magic damage oriented down on that bottom side.
All right, and then it will be the Poppy support. Look, the Ziggs is something that WE and Taeyoon have played. I think that they play it okay. It does put WE on a timer, though, because Kind of like last game, we saw the poke Varus into the DPS marksman the top esports had. A JackeyLove on the Ashe. If this game goes too long, he will overtake everyone with that late game power. And yeah, I think Braum makes a lot of sense here. You already have the main engage from the Vi and the Ahri. Just make sure that you have that stable backline core. I think it deals really well with an Aatrox too, as you're looking to, like, even the untargetable from the Fury, right? Like Winter's Bite, it can still follow through afterwards, because if you get an auto or a Q down, that will stick longer than the untargetable duration. So do like that pick from Chris, because he's going to look to catch a lot of the engages from WE and try and turn them on its head with the help of the Ashe too.
Yeah, so for top esports, a lot of pick potential is available. You have the Vi Ahri, obviously, and you have the Ashe ulti coming in with the Enchanted Crystal Arrows to find isolated members. And on the other side for WE, you have the semi-global in for both of the Taliyah and the Ziggs. And then I think it's all about getting Monki ahead on this Naafiri. We've seen how powerful this champion can get when given an early lead. The early levels, I think, like levels 1 to 10 or something, levels 1 to 9. Impacting the map with Karis is what Monki is going to have to do if W want to pull off the unthinkable and take a series against top esports.
I mean, Team WE, if they want it, they have early advantage. Again, you have that Ziggs, the ability to push Ashe around a little bit early and try and chunk people out to help that Naafiri, maybe get a couple early kills for Monki. Options for Team WE. So for me, looking out to see if they can execute upon that one early on, Grapes, as they will be on a clock, and I will say that is a Glizzy Naafiri that will be coming in.
We got it. This is my second Glizzy game, and I think, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, Chicago style, right? Is what we're rocking with here?
It does look that way. You need some, well, see, there's ketchup on there, so you can't be Chicago style with ketchup.
Okay. The pickles were what was, the pickles and the pop, like the
you need the relish and the onions, which I feel like the green, it kind of accentuates that, and we'll see what kind of Creme Monki pick.
Oh, what the hell is that?
I will say, it kind of looks like Chicago style in the Fury at the moment. We're close.
We're on to the rip for game number 3. WE in their home arena, by the way, as well. It'll be a big win for them against the defending LPL champions. So, early invade, potentially be started off here. JackeyLove and Chris, they have a very strong level 1, so if anyone steps up, they could get a little poke damage down. But I think we're really focused on what this Naafiri is going to be able to do early on. Monki can get ahead. A lot of setup around him with the Taliyah, with the Poppy, with the Ziggs to allow for it to succeed.
I was kind of curious to see there that the algorithm that they used, they had top esports actually more advantaged early than later on. Maybe they're a little bit worried for how the Ashe can function or auto attack, as there are a lot of tools to help slow down this Ashe and make sure that JackeyLove gets taken out early in these fights. But still, I think that if he's not dealt with, that DPS marksman should run things later on. And for me, the onus is still really on WE early on to make sure that they can make plays. Because they need to get, I think, really contest early grubs. Try and get that turret taking potential with the Ziggs going. And narrow up this map for top esports soon. Try and get that economy lead to make things really tough to play into when it comes to the Ziggs. Because if you get ahead on a map as Ziggs, it can be really tough to take that map back if you are top esports.
Don't want to make any too big mistakes down here in the bot lane then if you're JackeyLove and Chris. We've seen the bot lanes go a little bit hectic, but no, I think there hasn't really been a full 2v2 kill without the help of a jungler just yet. They will be level 2 hit first by Taeyoon and Vampire. Not super surprising there, as once again we see the junglers on opposite sides of the map. Kanavi going to be down there to try to defend Jackie and Chris early on.
It is worth noting, Cube Aatrox, definitely comfort for him, as he was willing to bust out that pick quite a bit in the placement stage for Team WE. So, again, if he's allowed to function throughout a fight, can be really tough to deal with, but I like the idea of the Ashe Braum to try and slow him up, as those Winter's Bites against Aatrox can be really big for just trying to chase him down with the autos. Again, a game where I don't know if he exactly wants to go Merc Treads in this game going up against the Gnar. But definitely going up against stuff like Ashe, Braum, Ahri, even the Gnar too. A lot of reason to try and build Merc Treads. So, no choice that we'll have to see what he goes with later on. As the moment we're going to see Creme actually being forced out mid by Karis. This is not exactly typical for the matchup. So Karis out-kicking his coverage a little bit here. Not exactly sure how this one came to fruition for against Creme, but advantage Karis early on.
Nicely done to another mid laner that was hyped up in his own region a little bit when coming up, right? He was part of the Gen G system, I believe, back in 2019, 2020, and then kind of scrambled around some bottom teams in the LCK for a little bit. Now, over on WE, Karis going to try to make a new name for himself here in a different region. And so far, doing pretty good, I think, overall in this series. I think more specifically in Game 1, but even towards the end on the victory in Game 2, he's putting in some work.
Yeah, I really feel like that, you know, Game 1 of 0 was a bit of a surprise. Like, Karis has been someone that, for us, has felt like he does his job, but rarely shows signs of flashiness. And if he is noticed, it usually is more of a negative than a positive. So, to see Karis put together a really big Game 1 like that and help his team overcome top esports was nice. But, of course, that Victor was a bit lacking in the damage department for Game 2. Wasn't quite able to have the impact that he wanted to. So let's see if this Game 3 can lead to him and his team having some better luck here, Grapes. Is early on with how the lane's been going, things are still okay here for WE. I will say the Ashe not being pushed around bot, I think is the biggest thing for me early on, because if JackeyLove is able to get his farm, that's always a good sign. And also I will say the Ziggs TPing bot will pretty much lock Taeyoon into this lane for that grub spawn at 6 minutes. So we do see Vampire making his way up, but likely that we just see JackeyLove and Taeyoon having a standoff in the bot lane while grubs are fought over.
This is the League of Legends that Riot wants, right? The bot lane is staying down.
Oh, don't get me started on the impact, man. Remember when we had like an entire year of like 5:30 dragon takes into 8-minute heralds into like 11-minute second dragon takes, and then teams would just decide whether or not they fought third or fourth dragon based on if they were a 1-item comp or a 2-item comp, like a 15-minute comp versus a 25-minute comp. Well, Grapes, if you like that style of League of Legends, do I have great news for you with the game plans that Riot has for this game moving forward?
Hey, it's just for
the clock back.
It's just for half the year. It seems like they're gonna try to constantly evolve. So that's where holding out a little bit of hope. But
going to old school League though, I was really surprised by that. I'm a little bit bummed too.
What if that's the way to bring the old people back?
Maybe. I liked the fact that Grub spawned at a similar time as Dragon because you actually had to trade things early on. A lot of times we saw just the better early game drafter team just got their hands on first Drake, first Herald, second Dragon for free, and then the game kind of started from there, which I fear will be the next meta of League that we have, especially with no lane swaps either. But anyway, this game continues. Vampire. Okay,
wow, dashed him with that heroic charge combined with the seismic shove up Karis. Flash out of Kanavi.
Monki is 6.
Here comes Monki. He's level 6 early, but it's canceled by the vault breaker of Kanavi. It'll at least make it a 1-for-1 trade. Creme has Spirit Rush, but not a lot of mana to do anything else with it. Chris forced to flash away. Karis flashes over as well, trying to finish off the job. One more auto, and the Unraveler's not enough. And so Creme has regenerated enough mana at this point to go right back in onto the Talia, who has got herself. Creme, one more auto after that. Oh my god, the biscuits are doing work right now. And Creme doesn't have any mana to reinforce. Karis is somehow still alive. And JackeyLove with the volley will take down Vampire.
Oh, Vampire goes down to get Karis out. I'd say that was worth, as I have never seen the biscuits, the pots, everything doing more work for Karis. He just survived auto after auto against Creme. Still, it was a good engage for Team WE that gets turned around by top esports. As I like the idea to get the health bar chunk onto Kanavi, but Monki burned the flash, burned the ult to go in, didn't exactly have the follow-up from Karis soon enough. So he fell off an overextension, and that leads to the Grubs going over to top esports. The one positive in the back half is that Taeyoon has been collecting his farm on his own some down to the bot lane. But man, what a hectic fight. What a crazy end as Karis just walking out and sucking down at all the pots he could.
And both Creme and Karis ran out of mana very quickly on this one, and that's what resulted in such chaos.
Karis has ult now. Karis has to have that ult going if they really want to turn things. As we go back live, it looks like 369.
He did that flash from earlier.
Yeah, he walked out. That's big.
Yeah, you're saying Karis gotta use the Weaver's Wall to go aggressive early on in that fight?
He's got to go sooner, because it felt like Monki was in too early, and again, that's one of the concerns that we have about Monki, and I think the unique value of Braum against an untargetable. That winner's bite sticks with you, right? So when you land, back down from that untargetable. If you have one of those stacks on you, it can be followed through upon by the enemy team. Part of why I actually do like this pick is the setup on the 369. This is
You've got no idea. In comes Vampire. There comes all the damage as well. Monki gonna pick up another kill. As 369 not having the easiest time of things here in this top lane.
Gotta say, the good series for Vampire continues here as, oh boy.
From
Good
downtown, there's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It gets connected as well by Creme. A charm goes through. That's Karis going down. JackeyLove on the Ash, helping out from way far away.
Yeah, no flash, no ult, no hope there for Karis. As that downtown ultimate got the max stun duration. Kanavi and Creme both got involved as Top Esports find something for themselves in the mid lane. Nice pick there. After the pick went down on the 369 to the top side. What I was saying before, though, I think the good game from Vampire continues. When you have that Ziggs bot, you are really freed up to walk around, try and have an impact on the map, and we have seen Vampire make good use of that so far.
And I know that Vampire is a heavily criticized player in the LPL, but easy to forget. This guy's only in year 2, only 19 years old. We see that arrow coming out. Just what JackeyLove does, I guess.
Yep, no hope there for Karis. Too late the fact that Kanavi was able to get involved, make sure that he gets an assist money, and still got the kill over to Creme, who will likely have that Roa completed once he gets back to base. So, stacking power enabled for the Ahri. Again, I still don't love this build. I think that Ahri as a champ, you're meant to be bursty. And I think this is one of the matchups where it's slightly better for Ahri going to Roa, because you do kind of prevent the Talia from being able to take you down, but that's what your Spirit Rush is kind of there for. And when you go to this build, you are bringing a little bit less power, and you very much require that you're going Ionian boots, which pretty much makes up for the ability haste that this build lacks. And sometimes Ahri with a defensive boot or another option would be quite nice. Like Merc Treads would feel really good on Ahri this game. So I don't love the setup. I think this is one of the better games for it, but it's led to Ahri being very heavily prioritized in a lot of matchups that I find weird to see her prioritizing. Like, for example, we've seen Ahri picked in the Rise. I very much prefer the Rise side of the matchup. I think that you have a lot of options to play into Ahri pre-6, and then you get tanky enough as the Rise where Ahri can't really delete you post-6, especially if she's going with the Roa build. So, again, this pick's one that we're not really sold on Grapes, but it does feel like a good game for it. Just the ability for it to sync up with the rest of the team, especially that buy.
It definitely feels good when you're ahead, right? And then you suddenly are able to you have enough base damage to get you through the mid game, and then all of a sudden you're level 16, 20 minutes into the game. Like that's the benefit of going this build. And so for Creme, that is definitely off to the good start for him. But we also have seen instances of like the Victor that Karis played last time around, where he was not doing a lot at moments where he probably needed to for the rest of his team. JackeyLove sit up there, seismic shove of Karis, and gonna get matched up by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Vampire has to flash away. Kanavi gonna follow forward with the Block Breaker, and it will be Vampire in a very precarious situation. Finally, Creme picks him up,
Monki?
And now it is going to be Monki going just too far forward. He finally will get one kill back onto Kanavi, actually, but overall a 2-for-1 in favor of Top Esports.
Yeah, nice fight there from top. As WE, honestly, I have to take a second look from that one. Just felt like it was a little bit split at the start from Vampire, and then Monki going into the back half didn't have the follow-up of his team. As that leads to the 2 kills stacking over for in favor of Top Esports. But yeah, definitely an awkward start, and it felt like JackeyLove again never really pressured in a game where I think a lot of this game is about pressuring JackeyLove in the fights, trying to take down this immobile AD. Like after this, like they get the chunk on the JackeyLove, but he's able to play the rest of the fight out pretty easily and unthreatened, because the numbers are here for Top Esports, and Taeyoon was just not set up with a team in the front to back. Was coming from that angle. And again, JackeyLove just gets to cruise through the rest of the fight after being initially flicked with no pressure and no worries for him. So, nice fight from Top Esports. Good follow-up from Creme, who continues to stay fed in this game. And we'll see if Top Esports can find any more of these grubs. They are the stronger team at the moment, have made their way towards this neutral objective.
Not good for W to at least pick up one. Navi try to prevent the rest of them to go.
The poke's good here.
WB's way. Vampire Hex Flash into the wall. The Ziggs doing a lot of work, and actually going to force WB away as the teleport also comes in. Karis making sure that it actually will end up being a grub advantage for WE for the rest of the team.
Yeah, I mean, the only toughie now is that by dropping that TP, you pretty much guarantee the fact this Dragon goes over to Top Esports. So you are going to be down 0-2 in the hole just for getting a single grub advantage. They're trying to snowball set advantage, though, in 369. Maybe get a revisit on the dive as Monki.
Not a lot of crowd control, though. The crowd control exists on the other side as 369 jumps it right back in. Going in the fray. Teleport comes in. It's going to be Creme to try to defend things in a 4v3, but he might have gone a little bit too far forward off of that teleport. It immediately gets canceled here by the Steadfast Presence. Chris will go down, and there's just not enough damage on Creme just yet to do anything back onto Cube. Meanwhile, Enchanted Pistolero connects into the mid lane. Karis is sure to go down here as JackeyLove will pick up kill number 2.
The great find, another oopsie off of Karis, is if he just takes a step back there, I think that was reasonable to assume that there was a play that could be made on him as Kanavi wasn't spotted in that top side. Will do his best to take away some camps from Monki, but a good find from WE with the grub advantage. I like the fact they were looking for proactive plays, and a lot was burned to take down 369, who ended up getting out, but of course, Chris was one who fell, and they do get the TP off of Creme, who is big, and really for not much game. So I feel like WE pretty happy with what they ended up getting out of that skirmish. Only bummer is that Kanavi was able to take some camps away from Monki, but hey, at least that first brick was secured, and the battle for feet stays alive. Is a nice one there from Cube. It's a flash shot of Chris.
It's not, it ends up not ending up in a kill, but that's pretty good. You burn that cooldown. Now Karis looking for to play on the Creme. The chip doesn't land. Looks like
Creme's still in the wall.
Walk out of this one alive. He throws at the charm. He has his flash if needed. Karis does not.
He might need it.
There's a lot of damage there.
Yeah, no help for Karis. Didn't feel comfortable to chase anything more, but I don't mind the idea of the look from Karis. Of course, Creme was down alt with that Roa. Lack of ability haste, of course, does have the Lucidity boots now to make up for that, but this is something where I gotta say, WE, like, looking back at this comp and some of the big picture ideas we have as we're 15 minutes in, Graves, they don't have a lead big enough that really makes us feel great about this game for WE. And I'm really concerned about the lead that JackeyLove has been able to build up on this Ashe, because that is the DPS point that could really break WE later on, with Ashe being so valuable in this game. And JackeyLove has been undeterred on his way to farm up a Storm and get to 3-0-2. So for me, that is going to be a big concern for WE later on. Again, their comp, it can be a comp that can really execute on the Ashe and make it tough for Ashe to function or auto-attack in these fights, but getting through Ashe Rom is still a tough task, and WE have not got themselves a lead to make that easier.
I think JackeyLove as a player, throughout his illustrious history, World Championships, multiple years, multiple LPL titles, not necessarily the Ashe that you always think of. It's normally the Dravens, the Lucians, the Kaisas, the aggressive picks. But JackeyLove, according to Wikipedia, 37-9 all time on Ashe. That's his highest win rate of any ADC that he's ever played more than a game of. So very, very good on this champion, and we're seeing it with the ability to throw out these arrows. Now, might have to use that here as Chris is getting engaged on. Chris is going to get probably taken down here. Vampire doing a whole lot of work on that initial engage. And now JackeyLove has to flash away here. Going to be matched by the Q to Q, but the W does not connect. Now Kanavi can join him with that Vault Breaker. Enchanted Pistolero comes out just to slow Cube down. And so Jackie will be able to escape with his life.
So Rift Herald picked up and a kill. Is WE going to use that tempo to slam the Rift Herald? I like this from them. They need to get a double crash off with this and pretty much make sure the Ziggs takes down this turret. Like the angle from Vampire too. See Karis threatening a Weaver's Wall as here comes Kanavi queued.
Oh, wait, Vampire it up just a little bit too early there from Vampire. Kanavi, though, still forced to flash away. Creme no longer has that ultimate available, and now Karis in some trouble. The Winter's Bite does connect on top of him, but will not be able to be followed up upon. So WE just back away after taking down that turret. They actually are now in the lead in terms of gold.
They are, but that play could have been so much better than what it was if Vampire and Karis were just able to sync up on, again, a nice angle. The idea of the Weaver's Wall and the Poppy is sound, but just wasn't in sync to execute against top esports. But still, the theme of the series has been WE being feisty, being competitive, Grapes, and that still continues to be the case here. Highlighted some concerns about JackeyLove off to a good start in this game, but used a lot of tools in order to get him, get the summoners out of him. Makes the next fight really easy to execute onto this Ashe, and WE, obviously it's the Viari on top esports side, but WE, they have a lot of tools to try and get on and punish this Ashe, which I want to see be used now. This is their window to try and find JackeyLove, get that shutdown off his shoulders, and really start to get the game in their favor.
Yeah, I like the way that Karis has been proactive across the map, using the Weaver's walls either to try and set up plays like that one that ended up being unsuccessful for Vampire, or even just always being first to these objectives. And, I think he's been dishing out a lot of damage so far. The problem, though, is Creme is also very strong, and it's a little bit further ahead in terms of gold, too. Picking up that Leandries as his second item. Dragon is going to be spawned now. Top Esports want to claim this Hextech Soul. Hextech would be great on this composition with the Ashe.
Vampire wasn't spotted. Oh boy, is now. He's got to be careful.
He's on half HP. Dragon is started up by Monki, but now it's going to be a lot harder for WE to go for this one. Tagged up in the Butcher's Bite. Back away for now, and now Kanavi's the one on it.
Actually, a really nice ult. Got a good chunk out on the JackeyLove, who doesn't have any vamp to sustain it. And Vampire are going to stick around here. I'm just curious if we see a Keeper's Verdict. He's got 8 seconds till that's off cooldown. Gotta imagine that's going to be
1,000.
Fired up.
Really low. Here comes the arrow. It lands only onto Karis. And Monki will steal away the Drake. Keeper's Verdict sends away one. And now WE can go forward. They try to land the heroic charge on Kanavi, but he cancels it and ends up picking up the kill onto Vampire. Top Esports will all be able to escape from its life, but it is Monki on the Glizzy Fury to steal away the Dragon.
That's a nice steal. Stops that soul stack that really broke the game for WE last game when they gave over that Mountain Soul in the first 4 Dragons. So, again, I like the idea. I feel like their conditions weren't the best. Just getting out with the Dragon and being down 1 and Vampire is well worth it for them. My concern is that, again, as this time goes on, I have more faith in Top Esports comp and their ability to execute behind this Ashe drop. This was so close to being good. Vampire hits out 369. It's not bad. Kanavi forced to burn his ult on the Poppy thing. The big thing here for me is that Kanavi was able to slink out here, queued under the Q from Cube. If Cube was able to cancel that, you're probably able to get Kanavi there, who was flashless and ultless. But Kanavi just barely able to sneak out under that, gets out with the kill, and gets out with his life. So the only win going to be that Dragon being smited over and going over the hands of WE.
It's like a tongue twister. Queued under the Q from Cube. That was,
you know, that's not a strength of mine, but I actually navigated that one pretty well.
That was clean. Yeah, I was
probably best. I wasn't even
impressive.
thinking about that.
It took me a second to like do it myself. I mean, yeah, that was well done. Well played. Well played.
Thank you. It means a lot coming from a broadcast man.
Try my best, because we are trying to throw out some Qs for Cube as well here. It's 369. Catch his Q. Kanavi as well. His Q connects onto Monki, and all of a sudden now we're in a 2v2 fight. On the bottom side, Ultimate's already being traded here. Monki no longer has his. There comes this. It combines beautifully with the enchanted crystal arrow of JackeyLove, who once again comes to the rescue and is now at a rampage.
I mean, the cease and assist into getting frozen in place. That looked like, you know, someone was holding Peter in place in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, you know, making sure that he gets eaten by the frozen spear. That's quite the throwback there. I don't even think I've got that book correct, but, you know, that was nice.
I read the first one.
That's where we're going. Well, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is actually the second book. It is hands down the most popular in the 7-book series.
You're making a lot of people angry. But I know that I just know the order of those books. Like you can start a fight in the chat right now.
Yeah, you can. I believe that one came out first and ended up being the second in the series in the end. Regardless, that was nice. I really like how Kanavi and JackeyLove played that again. What WE is throwing at Top Esports is requiring a certain bar of execution to be hit if you want to take down this team. One that we're not used to seeing when it comes to WE. So Top Esports really having to step up to the occasion and play to the form we're used to seeing from them if they want to walk out with the series today.
Yeah, the fact that we need a vintage JackeyLove Ashe performance and Creme so far having a really good game on Ari to have a 1,000 gold lead for top of WE is pretty surprising. But Monki and the rest of WE is still looking very aggressive, still playing like they have nothing to lose almost here in this series. Of course, not much to lose. It's just we're in the first round of that double round robin. There'll be many more opportunities for WE to face off against tough competition even tomorrow against BLG. But to be so close to taking a series off the defending champions, you know they want this.
Yeah, I still think the difficulties that await them are really going to be JackeyLove on this Ashe. Has that Hurricane, so going to be able to apply those to more and more people in the fights and try to stop Team WE in their tracks. Again, I think it's really big that WE use their big tools in order to try and find angles or lock down this Ashe or take away a lot of her health to make sure that JackeyLove doesn't get a fight where he's just able to fight on even footing and undeterred. So WE, again, they have a lot of tools to try and get on this Ashe. I think it's so important that they're able to, lay down the rocks, lay down the bombs to make sure that JackeyLove is feeling pressured and not able to maybe walk up and follow through on some of these fights.
So anyway, numbers advantages, finding little plays across the map. Maybe Karis with the Weaver's Wall, find people out in the side lanes right now is Dragon spawning in 30 seconds. Crucially, WE were able to steal the last one away. Otherwise, this would be Seoul on the line for top esports. So, set up around it, the objective begins. JackeyLove. Very careful. I was wondering if the observers were playing a trick on us or something. There was somebody hiding there, but it looks like we're all good for now.
The observers were just like, look at how confidently and boldly JackeyLove walks through this rug that he has no vision of. You too can do this at home if you want to be an elite player. Nice Monki. Forced to burn the untargetable, and we'll get a nice trade back onto Kanavi, but that is a big cooldown that top esports can use to maybe look. As this dragon is spotted, WE have a bit of an uphill battle, and again, top esports just continue to drag this one further lower down. Tough for Ziggs and Leah to get involved.
Going. It's burning quick. In comes Vampire again. A huge keeper's verdict sends JackeyLove away, and the smite is secured by Monki. 369 with an R ultimate. Sends 2 into the wall. Cube's left full HP. Gets himself a reset, but JackeyLove is now separated from the rest of the team. Kanavi will go down. Creme has to do a boatload of work here, but the charm is dashed away from Cube. He gets away from the seismic shove. JackeyLove finally re-arriving to the fight. The Rangers focus not unlocked just yet. Creme forced to run, and WE once again secure a dragon.
I mean, these plays from Vampire have been massive today for WE as he continues to step up, knocking JackeyLove out of the fight there. Talked about, how important it is to use tools to make the fights hard on Jackie. I was thinking about Taeyoon and the Ziggs. How about the keeper's verdict from Vampire? Finding a big target there in JackeyLove, well worth the flash and the price to execute that as they take out the marksman, take out the dragon before the fight starts, and WE put together another good one.
I want to see what the HQ was here. Monki gets away with it once again. Mike came out a little later, maybe he
comboed down from 1400 is what it looked like to me, as I see both smites being off the board, so that ward is going over to Monki, and then the rest of the fight, you can see JackeyLove just has really tough conditions. He can't walk forward solo on that side of the fight, so just ended up being stuck. I know we're not going to get the full replay, but enabled WE to play out a long one. You can see the health and the lead of Creme really coming up big there, as he was able to make sure that that fight was stalled out and nothing more was taken in favor of Team WE, but still, 2 dragons, another 1 skirmish to their name. Pretty big.
Yeah, so that sends the gold lead right back to even, Cubby. Game number 3, 1 game apiece. 100 gold separating these two teams. Naturally, it's WE, by the way, who have a slight lead at this point. The top side being the ones who are benefiting from it. Second item completed for Cube. That Hysteric's going to keep him alive for a little bit longer. We see a Brutalizer on Monki as well. He's going for a little bit more of an offensively focused build, as there definitely is a need for physical damage here in WE's composition.
I think the balance is going to be okay in terms of what damage they're presenting. It's just the lack of that DPS marksman it makes the game, like, as it goes on here for WE, it's more and more important that we see clean takes or see fights where they are able to get JackeyLove out like that. Because, like, imagine if an Ashe is able to be autoing for a fight that goes that long. That spells doomsday here for Team WE. But again, a lot of tools at their disposal to try and make life really hard for JackeyLove and this Ashe. So we'll just see if they're able to execute.
Red him on Jackie, by the way. He's level 15, yeah. Level 16
no vamp yet,
Creme.
though. I think he really needs a vamp set for next. So for me, like, that's just going to make sure that his conditions just get better and better in this game. As his, like, the conditions that JackeyLove, we have seen a few fights where him not having the best conditions have really hurt his team. So I think that's a really big next pickup for him coming in, especially as the damage starts to add up for Taeyoon, especially the Ziggs who just wrapped up that death match.
No life steal right now, other than maybe something in the runes at this point for JackeyLove. Baron now on the menu for both these teams. Kanavi, the canceling Monki using the Hex Gate and forces Vampire to use the ultimate. Where's 369 going? He has to flash away before he pops Meganar. Man, that could have been disastrous here for top esports. Speaking of top players, both being very out of position here as Cube had to dash over and pop the World Ender. There's the Enchanted Crystallera, and only lands on a Vampire. The Fisher finds 2. And top esports still hunting. Maybe looking for a kill. Charm lands on a Monki, but there's no follow-up.
I mean, Cube got away with murder with that TP, let's be honest. As honestly, you can see and feel really how tense this game is. The fact that both teams posturing the way they are, Graves. Seeing a couple of very tense moments, leading to inaction. Sometimes a rarity here in the LPL.
Okay.
Top Esports, they had better conditions off the back half of that skirmish. They did force Vampire back to base, and you can see Karis is still pretty low, so that's enough for them to start off the Otacon. Not to mention Monki, very low in this one.
369, though, doesn't have a path to the fight. He does have his teleport, but electing instead to just walk up to the Otacon, who's now at 8,000 HP. Not enough to be fully taken down by WE just yet, unless they fully commit back to it. So
it's a game of chicken now. Yeah, it's now going to be first one to get to Drake. So WE, they have to pull off the resets again. Conditions for them not quite as good. A couple health bars a little bit lower. Top Esports able to stay on the map and should be able to get control over this dragon. But a late base from Crisp and Creme might change that.
Who would have thought, Cubby? This series between WE and Top Esports, second place in the standings versus last place in the standings.
Yeah.
Is one of the more competitive, one of the closest matchups we've gotten throughout the entirety of Group Ascent so far.
WE really stepped up so far. We did see in that last game, some of their late game positioning and control really fall out of favor against Top Esports, of course, are the higher pedigree team coming into the day. But WE setup so important when you're playing stuff like Ziggs Talia.
Oh wait, Kanavi!
That's a big one.
He's completely separated from his team. JackeyLove gets hit up by the seismic shove, followed up in a flash. Cube shuts him down. Not if you're going to the back of the Aatrox, but 369. There's a 4-man Gnar, and Kanavi has come to the rescue. That's Top Esports picking up 3. Karis has gone gold, and only Taeyoon will survive. That is Top with a massive turnaround off of the Gnar ulti from their star top laner.
They found JackeyLove, but 369 rolls a 9, and he has been the consistent pillar of Top Esports today. Really stepped up on that Mega Gnar, and I think that just spells the doom for WE. It's going to be no dragon taken because Baron is on the menu. No contest coming out from the Ziggs. Got to believe the consolation prize is going to be a dragon picked up in the back half here for WE. But a great fight and execute coming out from 369, who really came up big to shut down any hopes of a WE win in that fight.
I thought Kanavi almost lost in the series right there. He tried to go for a long flank. WE decided to hard commit.
I love this from WE too. Like, this is a really good moment to go in. JackeyLove's alone. Monki finds him a good combo from Vampire, and all the damage from over the top ends up being big, but 369 was able to free fire, stacks up the Mega over the wall, uninterrupted from WE, finds a massive Mega Gnar. As Cube can't snowball throughout the fight, it bought time for Kanavi to wrap in around the fight, as of course that fight started with him taking the portal of the Narnia, ends up shutting the door in the end, as no one else can go through that cabinet but Top Esports. They end up getting the big purple worm, that big buff, and they're going to be spilling a lot of the gold away from Team WE, as it's only been one structure taken so far for Top Esports, and got to believe that with not just the Baron secure, but also the consolation prize Dragon was not secured by Team WE, ends up being the Hextech Soul Point for Top Esports. Gotta believe these turrets are gonna fall.
And unless Vampire has something to say about it, maybe one fight is what they need. Oh, there's the arrow again. JackeyLove almost finding the complete 100 to 0 of Taeyoon with the help of Creme. And at very least will help Top Esports claim this mid lane outer turret. And now Creme maybe going a little bit too far forward. Lands into the charm in on the Cube. Doesn't get pulled back by the tether. That was too damn close, man. Top Esports playing with fire here, but Kanavi is just going to 1v1 the side of Monki. Goes over the wall with the ultimate and will be able to shut him down. Now it's a 4v5 across the map, and Top Esports can at least crack open some inhibitor turrets.
Sadly, I mean, it looks like everything is coming crashing down quite fast here for Team WE. Talked about how many standing structures were up for Top Esports. These have all fallen, and now that gold lead exploding in Top Esports' favor, as the few picks and the big objectives lead to many a structure being taken down, and a very, very strong Ashe in the back half of this game, as JackeyLove does have access to that lifesteal now, and is making sure that he's always on good conditions and always pumping out the damage that his team needs. I know he fell first in that fight, but going to be so much harder now to remove JackeyLove from the map going up against Top Esports.
There's a Guardian Angel. There's finally the Vamp Scepter you were talking about as well.
That Wit's End, too, is going to be so big for 369. And the value you're getting out of that on that Gnar as well. Life getting really hard for Team WE, as they weren't able to successfully snowball this one fast enough. Top Esports playing this one out pretty well, as Vampire might be stuck. This was ambitious.
Gets done. Gets Locked down by the arrow. There comes Seeds Assist as well. That should probably do it. 2 more kills in the hands of Top Esports. Monki going to try to go for one last desperation play potentially. But the poke from Taeyoon is big. I don't know if it's going to be big enough. Baron buff available for 30 more seconds. Third inhibitor surely going to be the next target.
Yeah, contesting a top outer when you're away from Baron is probably something that should never happen in war games. So good punish here from Top Esports. They're going to try and use that tempo to get more Monki going down.
Shoving Monki into the wall. The Fury was good, but at the end of the day, not good enough here for WE, as now the Nexus Towers are going to be the target. Only Taeyoon and Cube left alive. Can they pull off a miracle here to save the game for WE? Vampire finally coming back from the fountain as well. Volleys reigning supreme here for JackeyLove as the Mega Inferno Bomb is blocked out. Not going to do enough damage onto anybody just yet. They're waiting for one more wave to crash in. The third inhibitor of the game will go into the hands of Top Esports. Cheddar Pistolero, it lands on Taeyoon, but he flashes away to make sure he survives. Weaver's Wall now coming out though. Karis wanting to maybe try to cut some members off here. Forcing the flash out of 369, and now here comes Cube. The health bars are low on Top Esports. This could be the time for W to get back into this game. World Ender has been popped, but Cube is just way too far forward, and JackeyLove will shut him down immediately. There comes another slow onto Karis. Creme dashing forward. 369 still here as well. They gnar Karis right into the wall, and that should be the game. Creme going forward, picking himself up a double kill, and WE, welcome to Group Ascension. He finally came to play, but your day was not today, as Top Esports are going to take this series.
Yeah, I mean, it all came crashing down so fast for Team WE in the back half of this one, as it was a quality series. Some surprises from WE, but the expected victors in Top Esports coming out at the end of the day.
And there it is, in 2-1 fashion. It is Top Esports moving up to 5-1 in the Group Ascent standings, and WE, although they did not come away with a victory, they did not come away with a massive upset, they definitely turned some heads in terms of what to expect from this squad for the remainder of the regular season.
I mean, honestly, it's a team that at least has showed some promise. I know sitting at 0-3, not great, but to contest Top Esports on a day like today, I feel like WE showed a lot of improvement. They showed some discipline with their comps, how they wanted to execute it, even if they didn't execute it to get the wins. We did see that direction and those overcommits that have been such a big problem for Team WE. They were a lot less. The direction was a lot better. I thought Vampire really stepped up in this series today. Even if the last 5 minutes of that last game, he came up a little bit flat. But that is promising for Team WE, quite frankly, moving forward. Because for me, Vampire is the member that needs to step up on this team. And he had a good series today.
We've seen flashes from players like Vampire like throughout the years, but it's been the bad parts of his game that have been exposed. But I think overall, this is absolutely a win for somebody who's believing in this young player now in just his second season of competition and at the tier 1 level. And so if you are a fan of WE, a lot to look forward to. And if you're Top Esports, you can breathe a sigh of relief, because it was not the easiest series against a team that you were probably expecting to beat coming in. But at least you're able to take care of business. And now at a 5-1 record, they are tied with anyone's Legends for #1 in the standings in Group Ascent.
Not quite in game score, but they at least, notched that win in their column. AL will stay on top at the end of the day. But, yeah, I mean, frankly, what's a really tough game 1 from Kanavi. It was good to see him bounce back in the series. And also nice to at least see JackeyLove be heard from in the series, as it felt like he was actually quite quiet until that game 3, where he did come up big in the back half. But for me, it's got to be 369, who is the player of the series today. It felt like he had some really solid games, was not a part of the problem in game 1, and was definitely a big part of the solutions in games 2 and 3 to help his team win that series.
I kind of want to. I'm leaning Creme, honestly, in this series.
Okay.
That last pick, that last game on the Ahri too, finding a lot of really important charms. Obviously, JackeyLove was imperative in finding those picks too, but without him on the Ahri, combined with Kanavi on that mid jungle that was picked very early on in that draft, I mean, it would have been a much different game state by the time those team fights started up for Top Esports.
Yeah, could have been. And I mean, if you are Team WE, there are some things you can take away with that, are still real positives. Again, Vampire upping his level of play was great to see. Some other things you can take away that are kind of negatives, Karis had an off game in that game 3. We need Karis to have more games like game 1 on the Azir. I feel like that's still something that's a bit of a concern for WE. And there's going to be another game where Vampire struggles. That's just kind of bound to happen with this player and playing support, right? bound to have good and bad games, but at least if you are WE, like, I'm curious where you go from here. I didn't like the Ziggs. I feel like it made sense in that game, that comp, but I don't like taking Taeyoon off those late game, like, insurance carries, because I do really feel like Taeyoon has stepped up in that role with WE, so maybe that's something you go back to the drawing board and play. Like, his Ziggs is fine, but it feels like that team actually really needs him to be that late game security blanket if necessary, because, again, things came crashing down pretty fast in that game.
But you look at the gold graph, they kept things basically even until 30 minutes into the game against the best team from the LPL last split. I mean, that has to be regarded in some capacity in a do-or-die game where both teams obviously are trying their hardest to pick up that win.
They yoinked 2 dragons. Like, that's a big deal, right? But again, I feel like there were angles from the win. Like, this play, if Karis' R is just synced up a little bit better with Monki, maybe there's a way that you can get Kanavi and have him, like, go back in, right? Because Monkey's already in and down pretty much before the wall or the damage comes in. So it was a real opportunity to find resets there on the Fury. Just didn't happen. And then, I mean, the back half of this play was hilarious with Karis walking out. I don't know if we're going to see that one, but like, this is a fight where I feel like WE could have played it much better. Was punished by top esports. I feel like that there are other moments like that in this series that WE can definitely go back to the drawing board and try and look for and find.
These biscuits are OP, man. I don't even know. I don't know what to say.
Vampire with the homie stock too. Just like, you know what? You can walk out for me. That's fine.
Yeah. Again, great series overall from Vampire. Like the look on the Poppy. This is one of the more aggressive Poppy supports that I've seen recently. I guess a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that he was playing with his Ziggs, so didn't have to sit around and protect in the 2v2 all the time. As more looks at JackeyLove on this Ashe as well, who continues to add to his win rate. This is the best win rate champion that he has in his competitive history. I
mean, him and Viper are the best Ashe players on the planet with Ruler. I feel like that's not a hot take at all. Yeah, he's unbelievable on this champion, but still, to see them, like this is a great fight from WE. They got the Flashkeeper's verdict to get Ashe out of the fight and actually played out a really nice one. Like, even this fight, the direction is there from WE. They were able to get on top of JackeyLove. It's a really nice combo to try and get him down. It's just that 369 was, that Mega Gnar was a game ender in the back half, Grapes, as he comes up big.
Yeah, and that alone might just give 369 the player of the game this time around. I feel like sometimes the LPL fans, they go for the flashy play. I can also see JackeyLove winning it because of all the picks that he was able to have on the Ashe. There's a lot of different options you could go because, again, even though it was a very close game, it was not a one-sided one by any means, but I feel like everybody really did come to play for top esports. They actually executed on their win conditions very, very well. As Glizzy finds a trash can there.
Yeah, I do like that part of the animation. And again, mention for Cube, the Steel Caps versus Treads argument. I think Treads won in that skirmish there, as he got tagged up by the Winner's Bite and completely 100-0'd in the back half. As again, top esports, once they took control of that game after they got that third dragon, or the fight before the 5th dragon that spawned, that was their third, then turned that into Baron, into Dragon, and into all the structures and the game pretty much within the duration of that Baron. And our very exciting series that was very competitive came to a rather abrupt and uncompetitive close, unfortunately, Graves, but still was definitely one that overachieved the expectations that we had for this series coming into the day.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to WE again. Really, everybody coming to play in some capacity. Specifically, shout out to Monki and Vampire, but it's going to be JackeyLove. We were hearing from our production staff that the fan votes played a large role in that being the case, which makes sense. JackeyLove Ashe, pretty synonymous with being fan favorites. So congratulations to him.
He did have some big arrows. We'll give him that. Every arrow was very much on point, and he was very fed. Even if I feel like a lot of that game was about him, like the other team trying to make sure that he couldn't play the game. There were some fights where that did happen. Credit to JackeyLove, though. The other fights where it didn't, he made sure to carry through. And yeah, it was a nice performance from him. Top Esports, they find the 2-1.
Yeah, and that's going to do it, I believe, for our day here today. I think we have maybe a look at the standings in just a little bit to give us a reset about where we are. Again, we started today off by going through Group Nirvana with our first series and then ending up here with Top Esports taking down WE. Tomorrow, we have 2 more Group Ascend matchups, BLG versus WE. So WE, right after taking this loss to Top Esports, I'll be a competitive one. Got to get right back to it, start up that prep again. And then following that, we have Weibo Gaming versus Ninjas in Pajamas. That should be certainly very exciting. So make sure you tune in right back here tomorrow, 5 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Pacific, on twitch.tv/LPL English, and over on YouTube at LPL English as well. Cubby, thank you so much for being with me the entire day.
Yeah.
It's a good time. Got to cast some great games. We have a standings graphic, actually, real quick, if we want to pull that one up. What do we think right now? We see anyone's Legends in first place, but not too far behind our top now that they won.
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is the fact that LGD did move to 2-0 and LNG moved to 0-2 in the group Nirvana, which is not pictured on our standings, but of course the stakes in that group so high, so critical that we are really curious to see what ends up happening over there. As for me, LGD is still one of the teams that I actually want to see make it over to the main stage in the playoff bracket, like one of those top 2 out of group Nirvana, and I definitely showed some promise today. So Nio continues to be big on those carries.
Absolutely. Shout out to LGD. They still have some more series left to play, but I think that at least most likely guaranteeing themselves a chance to play in Split 3 and get to see these rookies get another chance in the LPL for some more time together as a unit. Will be very fun to watch and see how far they can really climb with that group of 5. But before we go, we want to give a very